The goal of relieving the siege of Boston with cannon from the Champlain Valley began days after Lexington and Concord, but it finally started to become a reality around 5:30 p.m. December 5th, 1775, when Henry Knox recorded in his diary that he crossed Lake George and immediately went up to the Fort Ticonderoga.
Knox's subsequent feat was one of the most memorable of the Revolution.
Facing unknown obstacles of weather and terrain, the expedition was a bold gamble.
Armed with instructions from General Washington, Henry Knox began assessing the artillery here at the fort, preparing to move them to the siege lines outside of Boston.
By the time Knox had arrived, soldiers of the garrison had been busy hauling and staging cannons suitable for Knox's mission.
This included guns found at Ticonderoga, brought from Crown Point, and even captured in Canada.
Soldiers of the 1st and 4th New York regiments hauled cannon out of the fort and closer to the water, elevated them on blocks of wood.
Over 5 days at Ticonderoga, Knox monitored the selection and movement of the guns.
They were hauled by oxen down the Portage Road, beginning the first step of their momentous journey by water over Lake George.
Knox and the men spent an exhausting week crossing Lake George. He wrote to Washington.
It is not easy to conceive the difficulties we have had in getting them over the lake owing to the advanced season of the year and contrary winds.
By mid-December, 59 cannon, mortars, and howitzers were brought to Fort George. From there, Knox reported.
The want of snow detained us some days, and now a cruel thaw hinders us from crossing Hudson's River.
By early January, the 60 tons of ordnance were finally on the move, hauled by Teamsters General Philip Schuyler helped to procure.
The biggest cannon, at 11 feet long, weighed 2.5 tons and were pulled by as many as 8 horses.
The string of sleds, people, animals, and guns crossed the frozen Mohawk and Hudson rivers before ascending the heights of the Berkshires in western Massachusetts.
And carefully coming down the other side, where Knox commented that,
"It appeared to me almost a miracle that people with heavy loads should be able to get up and down such hills as are here."
The stirring sight brought the revolutionary struggle to people's towns and front doorsteps for the very first time.
Locals came to witness the spectacle of Knox's noble train of artillery and were thrilled by an impromptu demonstration of the thunderous mortars.
Knox arrived at Washington's headquarters on January 18th, completing his mission.
The guns were dropped in Framingham, where Army artificers built carriages to prepare them for American siege lines.
By early March, guns from Fort Ticonderoga were mounted on Dorchester Heights south of Boston, tipping the scale.
And the British evacuated the war-torn city on March 17, 1776.
Giving General Washington his first victory, thanks to the heroic efforts of American soldiers and civilians, foremost amongst them Henry Knox.
This artillery not only freed Boston, but provided the American colonies with the confidence to assert themselves as a military force and eventually as a nation. But in early December, all of this still lay before him, with success by no means guaranteed, and the fate of his home and the revolution hanging in the balance.